Hiya, who's new with you? Welcome again to our Thursday Matrix Exit Solution Talk. All you mankinders and healthy Americans and Mike, welcome your people. The Renegade Nation. Mike Colomb, Renegade Nation, folks, our hero of private member associations, unincorporated associations, even quite knowledgeable on national status, changing your status, and land patents. And you're going to be in Texas with the Freedom Cells and Ron Gibson, the patriarch of the land patent allodial title topic. Are you psyched? Are you looking forward to that?
Oh, absolutely. I actually met Ron a couple years ago in Oregon, and it was kind of funny because we were taking, and I've had a lot of people ask me about it, and we're looking for him, and I'm trying to connect with them all over the place, everywhere I could go. And I got asked to go speak up in Oregon, and I went to this little event and spoke. And when I get done, I'm leaving the little spot where I was speaking and walking out there, and Ron comes up to me and introduces himself. And he was actually there to meet me and then also to speak later on. And it was kind of just, God putting us together and at the right place, right time, getting that through. So I know in Texas, we're both slated to do basically a workshop on Sunday of that week. Where we're going to, I think I'm speaking on Friday, and then he's speaking I think before me or after me. And then we're doing our workshop on Sunday. So it's going to be good. So I get to spend some time with him and pick his brain a little more and learn a little more, and then see how we can help each other grow in this in our new tribe, right, and get everybody together on the right page and moving forward with the things that need to be done. Set us free.
The learning never stops, does it?
It does not.
So that's that's only just over 2 weeks from now, right? It's the 19th through 21st.
Yeah, but I think it's the 18th through the 23rd.
Yeah, it starts on the 18th.
Yeah.
Right on. So
yeah, it's gonna be fun. Looking forward to it.
So where are you at? You went out to Vegas for your 21-year-old son's birthday?
Yeah, one of our boys just turned 21, so we went out there to kind of take him some shows and eat some good food and buy some nice clothes and just hang out and enjoy Vegas a little bit for what it is. And we normally stay in Lake Las Vegas at the Hilton over there that used to be a Ritz. And then he wanted to be on the Strip, so we stayed on the Strip and Caesars, and it was a nice day. We really like Caesars. And when we do go to the Strip, we usually stay at Aria. And next time we go back, we'll probably never experience Caesars, probably never get to stay there again. I'll go there for sure for some of the restaurant activities they have there. But yeah, we like the other places better. But it was good. It was fun.
Awesome. Well, we're also hoping to bring you down to San Diego. We're not quite sure when, but we're planning behind the scenes. And in the meantime, the world's making it tough on you. Surprise, surprise. Anything you put forward, somebody's going to step on and say it doesn't work. And being true truthers, we have to look at it and see, well, did I miss something, right? And but also address things reasonably and accurately and figure out what's missing. Of course, it's tricky timing because you're traveling, and so we don't have the screen sharing available today, but we're going to do it in upcoming calls and really nail down these details. So since we're not going to do the screen sharing show and tell today, what do you want to talk about, brother?
Well, let's talk about manifesto items if you'd like to, or we can talk about other stuff, whatever you'd like to do. The screen share will be prepared completely this next Thursday, and have items down. Everything will be highlighted. We'll have all the backup information. I think we can go through a big portion of what's there in one session, and then finish the next session with the leftover items if we need to. Depending on how many basically questions we have in between and all that. So what do you want to talk about today? Want to get right into that?
Well, for the heck of it, since we've got our friends here, Jahan is a friend of a couple of friends of mine, including my co-founder of Mankinder, Sterling Hill, the genetics app developer who's been friends with Judy Mikovits and Stephanie Seneff and so many other people. And Jahan is then therefore in the New Orleans area, if I didn't say that. And she's getting closer to maybe a PMA, but you were just saying to me that you figure your business may not need it. And that's an interesting perspective. Do you want to say why you feel that way?
Yeah, so I do outside sales, subcontracted work with with like 30 different companies selling nutrition and health products, and I've never I've only filed under my social security, so I've never needed an LLC for my thing. I just basically have a website and people can order off of it, and our customers, and then we get like a 1099 at the end of the year. So I'd rather not get a 1099. I'd rather get like some other form. But do I really need to put myself in a PMA and then have like all these new customers becoming members? Not sure that is appropriate.
Yeah, so for what you're doing, I don't really see the necessity in it completely.
Right.
A partnership association is meant to protect brick and mortar. You know, it would protect what you're doing, but what you're doing there really is, if those businesses get shut down from a mandate,
Right.
would make you not shut down, but it doesn't say that they wouldn't shut down, right?
True. Yeah. So I
So
suppose it's not really, yeah. Needed.
I mean, you could skip a business license and the rest of the stupid little things you might have to do with a private member association, but for the most part, you're just sole proprietor, so you get a 1099 for yourself personally.
I mean, I stopped filing. I was like, I'm done with you guys. I got my state national, hopefully, passport, and I'm just like, yeah, I'm done.
Oh, so you're a state.
Yeah, I believe so. I was saying earlier in the call, I thought you had heard it, that I filed the application the correct way, and I can't verify if it was done because there was a snag with my name, and they sent me a letter back from the passport office saying, well, we're going to revert back to your old name, not this hyphenated name with birth married name. So they rejected the name, but they sent me the brand new passport. So I'm just sort of waiting. I went to the passport office and they said that whatever is attached to my application is what is important. So
did you do more than just the passport? Did you put in an affidavit of status change to the U.S. Secretary of State?
So I did all that stuff with David Straight before. So I only got so far in his method until I started to hear like all these questionable things about him and his process. Mm-hmm. Other people's processes are better. So, but I got to the point of getting a passport. So I'm just like, well, I'm good enough. I'm happy enough if I get that, but I just can't verify it yet. So I guess maybe
just clear, the passport alone doesn't make you a state national, right?
Well, the affidavit of status recorded and doing all of that.
You did that.
Yeah. So
whether you have a passport or not, you're an American state national, period.
If I did my AOR, then yeah.
Yeah, you've done, a lot of people only do that one document. Some people do that single document to the U.S. Secretary of State, and then other programs do a whole bunch of documents spread out throughout the country to different places. Some people say that just that one's the only thing necessary, and some say not, right? So in like with David Straight and Anna and and Robert Michael, who does the same thing, and Robert Saley's, they all have a program and a process, and they're all going to be a little different from each other, and so it's kind of like up to the individual. For like me, when I'm doing mine, I've actually got somebody else now working with that to do it through equity and make sure everything's done with equity as well. So I've taken all the different processes and put them together for what suits me. And I think that anybody who does that needs to go out and educate themselves. So if you're waiting on your status with your passport, that's not necessary. Yeah. Have you done a revocation of election?
That one I have not done.
Okay, so as an American state national, there's a process to do that in one of your programs potentially. If you can't find it or whatever, just reach out to me and I can help you through it.
Okay, yeah, there definitely is. Okay, that's really good advice. Okay, so and I can stop there, unless I want to carry on forward with, W4 sandwich or whatever other processes.
Yeah.
Right?
Those are extra things that you should study a whole bunch and know exactly what they're going to do or not do for you before you enter in any of those things.
Right, for sure. Yeah. But revocation of election is the final thing that really is the most important. And I've got my AOR, so filed and stamped and everything.
Yeah. So you do AR, you need to do the ROE, and then at that point in time, then when you get a 1099, it doesn't matter. They just give you 1099. You just throw it away because you're not taxable. You're non-taxable.
Okay. Well, that's the simplest way anybody has described it to me. That gives me a little, yeah, that makes me pretty happy. Thank you.
Absolutely.
That's great. Because, yeah, I mean, everyone else is always just attacking David Street, but nobody really says which part of this process is incorrect. So that's why I was like, I got this far and I stopped because everyone was just coming at him with slings and arrows. So I was like, yeah.
So here's the thing is that you need to research all of the components before you do any of the components, right? And actually know why you're doing them. So when you enter into David's program or on his program, they have this process that you go through to do those things.
Well, I did 2 immersion weekends, so I totally did understand what I was doing. But
right, I understand that. But what I'm getting at, I guess, is not just take their side of what they see and what they're teaching. Go out and research it further. Right, take it to the internet, and not that you're going to find all everything you need to find on the internet, and even then you need to decipher what's right and what's wrong. But you need to make an opinion off of educated instances where you go and you research this stuff, and then reach out to people and say, hey, what do you think about this? What is your view on this? How do you see this? And then that's going to help you a lot. And that's what I do with everything I do. Yeah, I research it like crazy, and then I start asking questions with people that have dabbled in it, people who've done it a lot, people who are experts in it. Yeah, so get a little mix of everything, and then formulate your own opinion on what you're going to do.
Okay, that's very helpful. Thank you.
Oh, you bet. Yeah.
Fantastic. Thanks, Mike. So we had a question from my buddy Chris Doucette, who's done a lot of video production with me, and he asks, please explain do with equity.
Okay, so there's equity process that we use and equity law, right? And then we have administrative processes that we use to protect ourselves. And through the equity process, there are things that they think and they see, and that's basically you can learn equity from a lot of the different assemblies throughout the country. So if you have a local assembly, they might have somebody that teaches equity, that you can find out stuff and regarding that to be able to learn. And it's a process of protecting yourself and making sure all your things are correct. And that's, I want to know as much as I can before I've got my affidavit of status is all ready to go. It's sitting there in my outbox ready for me to push send. And then I'm going through a bunch of stuff through this week, and then I finish by Sunday, and then early this next week it'll go out.
Fantastic. Mike, we're hearing some static on your mic. I don't know if there's anything you can futz with, but
I don't have any background noise around me at all, and I don't have anything on besides.
It's the gremlins. They don't like
it. It is gremlins.
We'll keep going, and if we need to, if it gets too terrible, we'll have you reboot, go out, and come back in.
Okay.
But question, where are you investing money?
Well, property, gold, silver. I think it's the time to buy gold and silver right now today. I think that's a good investment. I think it's a good way to go. You're not going to make gains on some of the things you've got. We've got all kinds of projects that we look at. I've got a group of investors and investment money and pools. We're actually funding some huge projects right now, working on those in the billions, and all around the world, not just in the United States. We have a bunch of people that invest in those, and these are land projects, right? They're community projects. They're new. Basically, one of them is an airport in a shipping center, right? So, infrastructure and things like that and anybody can invest in these things in pools. We don't have pools, but there's other groups out there that do those types of things. But I'm a big fan of gold and silver, and I buy as much as I can whenever I can.
Fantastic. All right, now I'm going to prepare the next question for you, but I'm going to be a real pain in the butt and say log out and log back in because it's.
I will do that. You bet.
Staticky.
All right.
Thanks,
you're right
brother.
back. Yep, you bet.
So Satvananda, if you can tell me what your preferred question would be for when Mike pops back in, and I'm going to put you in the main window. There you go. You got a question for us? What do you think? Johnny on the spot.
I'm just kind of, I've been researching this stuff for a long time, so it's very interesting to me. And I'm thinking of creating a PMA collective of sorts for food, agriculture, animal husbandry. So I've been going that direction for a while now. So it's very serendipitous, of course, to be here with you all today.
Yes, we are. What area you think you want to do that in?
Probably California and Texas, depending. Right now, I'm living in both places, so
Well, that's
mainly
vague.
California.
That's vague enough, since they're nice small states where we know what you're talking about. Where in California or where in Texas do you think?
Probably in the Bay Area.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that's pretty close to Mike. All right, so I'm going to pass on that question. Let's get him into the main box here. There he is.
Is that better?
Mike, the question? Yeah, I think you're sounding better, but I know you're a bright guy. All right, thank you for dimming down your
I
light a little
didn't do
bit
anything. It did it all on its own. I don't know
to
what
our
it's doing.
level. Thank you. So yeah, Satvananda is interested in putting together a PMA collective, like-minded people in collaboration in the Northern California area. So moving toward that, and you'll be just the guy to do that.
Yeah, for food and animal husbandry, raw milk, raw dairy, soy-free eggs, stuff like that.
I could barely hear you. What are you trying to? What's your project?
He was saying animal husbandry, raw
nice.
eggs, just the whole variety of healthy farming and so forth.
Yeah, we have a lot of those throughout the country. It's a great thing. We're seeing a lot of it coming around. We need millions and millions of people willing to do that, right? Because when they start controlling our food source is what really puts us in a jam, right? Those are important things, and we saw that through COVID, right? They came out and started controlling our education, our food, and our livelihoods by shutting us down, and we can't allow that to happen. So, yeah, we have recourse on it, and we need to do those things that are necessary.
Exactly.
Yeah, as far as I comprehend it, the reason why I was leaning towards the PMA collective kind of structure was because through signing the membership agreement, you kind of sign away the liability and the government oversight and all this stuff, to receive dirty eggs, from the farm, raw milk in your own glass container, this type of thing. Yeah. Especially with the raw dairy, because it carries a really good price around Northern California, pretty much all of California, and it's extremely healthy for you. I know that a lot of my research, they try to remove a lot of the nutrition from our daily experience, and then we just have a crashing IQ, shrinking brains, all this kind of stuff that I write about on my website. So that's another reason why I'm going to PMA, to try to get around all of the red tape and distribute real nutrition. Yeah.
Yep, and that's what you can do in a PMA for sure. Yeah, excellent. By just having the ability to be in a private, we're all about removing jurisdiction. That's the most important thing, and it's the easiest thing to think about. When we remove their jurisdiction from being able to come and tell us what to do, then it puts us in a place of sovereignty, right, and being able to act as real humans, as a man and woman.
So would you say that that's accurate? Being able to transcend the red tape through a membership agreement in which you're kind of signing away your liability or kind of thing.
Well, not really signing away your liability. I think that might be the backwards way of looking at it. What it does is it locks them into being accountable, right? And when you form the PMA and you have the members in your PMA, then you're building that membership, and everybody's accountable to each other in that, right? And it's a private thing, so you're not legitimately supposed to be taking it out into the public and telling other people about it. All these things are really important that we do in the private, but the important thing is that when we do these things in the private, it removes the jurisdiction of the authority, right? In Article 1, Section 10 of our Constitution, Yeah, we have the ability for unlimited contracting, private business contracting, association, right? And it's all bound. When they came out and said freedom of speech, then the Supreme Court said, well, we need to look at it a little bit further, because what they're really meaning isn't just freedom of speech, it's freedom of assembly. And then if you're talking about freedom of assembly, then they say, well, we need to look at this a little further, because it's not just freedom of assembly, it's freedom to do business and have transactions and contract. And that's the whole idea of our First Amendment, is that we have those freedoms to do those things. And when we not only do we have them, but we have to invoke them. And when we don't invoke them, that's when we become lazy, and our society becomes lazy, and then they start taking control of the things we do, with this perceived authority that they have a right to do these things, right? They don't think that we are the in control or the boss anymore. They think that we're their servants, right? And that needs to be changed and put back into perspective.
So how would you go about advertising or growing the PMA or the membership base? Is that legal, or is there a problem there?
So there's different trains of thought on that. Myself, when you jump back into the Constitution and you jump into jurisdiction, and then some people say, oh no, don't advertise. Well, I think those are the people that are in fear and don't really understand what they have a hold of and how to operate it and how to invoke their rights. When you understand how to invoke your rights, then there's no fear of that. And I'll advertise anything I feel like advertising, anytime and anywhere I want to do it. And if you come to me and say I can't do that, then we're going to have a discussion about it, right? And show me where do you have the authority to tell me that I can't advertise to? Well, they said, well, you can't do that. If you're private, you can't advertise in public. And I said, where does it show that? And when the public comes in and becomes my private member, they're in a private. I'm not selling to the public. I'm selling to the private. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't see an issue.
Yeah, that makes sense, because you're advertising. You're not selling to the public until they become private.
I'm letting people know that we're open for business. We're open for trade, right? And you always remember, we don't do commerce in a private membership association. We do trade, and we don't walk in the same space as the public does, and that's what gives us our rights and our authority. Yeah, it's really a shame that we have to actually do this, right? The PMA, because those are all rights anyway. Those are the things we're allowed to do anyway. And if you think about it, I mean, it's like we do the PMA for a couple of reasons. Like I want a friggin' bank account, right? And without a private membership or an unincorporated association or those things, you're not going to get one, right? Because they have that connection, that tie that says, you need to have your social security number, and then they're on that. So we get an EIN so we can operate as a separate entity. Gives us a little bit of, separation, not a whole bunch, because they don't see it as a legal entity. The government doesn't see it as a legal entity, except for, the ability to have a bank account. So, yeah, we can go down rabbit holes with that all day long.
Yeah, that's where I've been going, just on my own research and just studying the food co-ops and collectives around California that are very popular. The people want this stuff.
I see probably the biggest amount of those we have. I've got a bunch in California, but I think Oregon surpasses us as far as numbers of PMA collectives that are doing food services and food. Washington's probably, I think Oregon, California, Washington, and then it spreads out throughout the rest of the country. We've got a bunch of them in Texas and other free states. It's what we need to do. We need to be there. We need to be able to have food, offer food, have milk and eggs and meats without the authority of the FDA and the USDA, and they're playing with us. Because all they do is mess up our stuff. Right? They put additives in. When you do have a USDA run process, there's all kinds of chemicals they want you to use. It's just a bunch of garbage. It really is.
Yeah, and the reason why I'm going towards this style of membership is because it strengthens the regional economies, which makes us more robust when they try their little tricks and their games in the international globalist kind of mind frame.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's the perfect weapon.
I agree with that, very much so. Well, and that's the whole idea, is a parallel economy, right?
Yep, and that's why Mike created Renegade Ranch Provisions and opened a general store while everything else was in lockdown. Yep. And hey, buddy, I'm going to ask you to restart again. Log out, log back in again, static man.
That's
Your
crazy. I'm so.
connectivity is great.
Did
Your
it start
sound is
off
great
without
except for the
static? Or
static. Yes,
It
it's
did,
just
and then it just comes in.
it's just static. Yeah,
Let me try something. I'm going to turn my truck off. I just have that on.
that's it. It could be electrical
Yeah.
interference. Let's hear it
How's that?
one more time.
Is that any better?
Nope. Get out of here. Come back.
I'll reboot. I'll be back.
I love this guy. Yeah, he's been the leader in this for a long time. He's been ahead of the
So
curve.
he actually runs a food service PMA
Oh,
with the
heck
general
yeah.
store. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, let me put the proper link.
Yeah, because that was
It is-
pretty much exactly what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, it's Renegade Ranch Provisions. The link is in all the event pages, so
Okay,
I
I'll
can't
check it
find
out.
it.
Thank you.
I'm just juggling all these separate notes, but I want to tell you properly. Boop, 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 boop. Where is it?
So does he
It's-
set up PMAs for people, or he has like some plug and go?
Yes.
He does.
No, he does it himself, and he's been saying, and he's in Nevada County, so
How much does that cost? I like. I want to refer people to him.
he's actually, interestingly enough, I'll let him say, but he's actually more affordable than most of these characters because
Yeah.
and realistically, everybo's got to have a job, and that's unfortunate, but we're still in the system where everybody's got to have a job, and folks like Mike, I'm bragging about you, with a slight perspective shift, which is that because Mike is not just pushing paperwork, because he runs a general store and has been a contractor and he's been a very successful businessman, because it's not the only thing he does, he's able to do the PMA service more affordably than somebody who only provides that service. So, we'd love for everybody to do well and be in business as long as they're creating ethical products that work, right?
Right. That's awesome. So, and do you have any? Sorry, I'm just thinking of questions, if you don't mind.
Yeah,
is there
please.
anyone that has set those up and then has ran into problems, or it's just been smooth sailing after that when they come in, or just pushback? What does that look like? Or I don't know.
Well, I would never ever say that any business is smooth sailing.
Well,
Right.
of course. I mean, from the outsiders, I guess.
You're saying.
Yeah.
So I've actually helped hundreds of PMAs get going, hundreds in a couple 2.5 years, and with that, I had about 22 people, different businesses being attacked by the city, the county, or the state. Today, I do a couple different things. I email you documents. We're going to load them on the website here pretty quick. You can download them and fill them out yourself and send them in if you feel comfortable doing those things. If not, you can hire me to do those for you, and we can put the document packages together. I'm batting 1,000. I have nobody that's had to go more than 3 documents so far into protection, and they go away. They evaporate and they leave. They understand that we know what we're doing in our processes to be able to take and to effectively push them away and show them that they don't have any jurisdiction and or authority. So those are important. Back to the membership pricing on it. When I went through this program with David Edwards at first, he charges for a PMA, and then when before I started doing PMAs, I knew a lot, right? Because I read for hundreds and hundreds of hours and studied not just his stuff but everything out there in the market. When you really want to learn about stuff, don't go private membership associations when you're reading. Look for unincorporated associations, and you'll get a little more data on that. And then I broke it down even further, and I started looking at subsections. I looked at and studied all the Supreme Court cases, all those things included. And when I came back to David and told him that it's like he asked me if I'd start writing PMAs, and came back to him and said, yeah, we really want to, I think we're going to do that. So, but with that, he talked about his pricing structure of $2,400 for the PMA for what I do. And I never felt that it was, that the value was there for it. I mean, it's inherently and intrinsically there. I felt that my right spot was $1,800, and that's what we charge. And I've charged that. We started off at a different price point, and then did some other things, and then got it to the 1,800, and we're staying there. And I'm not going forward. Most of the places are $2,400 up to $10,000, $20,000, $30,000, right? And then one of the things that I do, I wanted to be able to offer more and at an acceptable, affordable price for people. A lot of the people we were helping at first were, homeschools, little mom and pop stores, new businesses just getting out there with nothing, with no market, no money, nothing at all. So we entered in that price level. I told him I wasn't going to 24. He didn't like that a whole bunch because he was at 24 and all the rest of his people are at 24. And I didn't do it to create an advantage or a disadvantage for them. I created it because I thought that was the right price point. And that's why we did that. Today, I still think it's the right price point. One of the things I do that they don't do is I educate. And education without a PMA without education is like in having a car and a stick shift, not knowing how to drive a stick shift. You can't do it. And you can, somebody can put you in a PMA and you can get out there and start running. And unless you're understanding what's actually happening inside of it and how to protect yourself, what you can and can't do, what they can and can't do, then you're just fooling yourself. And to think that you can just get a PMA and in smooth sail, right? We'll go into that. It's like, you can't. And the business made smooth sail all the way through. You may never, ever have an issue at all. Nobody may ever reach out to you or bug you, and that's great. But you need to be prepared if they do. And you need to be prepared, because if you don't and aren't prepared, then nasty things can happen if you interact improperly.
Gotcha.
And my cost is $1,800, and then $99 for the renegadenation.org website entrance, which is our training ground, and advertisement.
Oh, okay. So it's $99, like a one-time fee, or
it's an annual fee. And then what that annual fee does is that my complete 100% devotion to your business and helping you is included in that $99 fee, including the advertisement on the Renegade Nation and all the other things that we educate on there.
okay.
So, it's like I have people that I put in 2.5 years ago that call me and to ask me a question, and I'll always get back with them. And that's one of the things that I pride myself on. And I've got, hundreds of people that are out there that I work with, on a monthly basis that call me. I talk to them. We go through stuff. And not everybody. Am I a little bit low on speech there?
It's static's back.
Static's back. I'm sorry. How about that? If I go closer, is it away?
It's a little better.
A little bit if I'm closer. Yeah, I'm really sorry about that, guys. I will be in my office this next week, 100%. So this won't happen again. Sorry.
It's not too bad.
All right. Okay. So it's just really important to get educated in everything that you do, whether you're going to be state national, whether you're going to do a trust, whether you're going to do an ROE. You want to know those things and understand why you're doing it, first of all, and how it's going to affect you in positively and negatively, right? And those things, because there is a positive and negative on everything. Any way you look at anything you do today, you need to be in the right place mentally to be prepared to protect yourself.
So you mentioned you do private schools or schools like that, because that's something that I do in my business life as an advocate for children.
That's
and,
awesome.
Developmental type of enrichment for children with yoga and different stuff like that. So I was also actually going to start a school of some kind, like a yoga school. I don't know if I want to do the Montessori but that's very popular also in California. So that's very awesome. That's what you guys are doing over there.
Yeah, we have a lot of educational systems, from adult education to child education to all the way through, all grades all the way through. Many different places. So education is probably our second largest entities that we do inside of private membership associations.
Wow. Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, because I've been reading all about this, all this stuff happening in California, and people are, leaving the schools.
Oh yeah, you bet. We get a lot of that. Well, and we get a lot of the schools that are in place that are getting attacked. They've been there for a while. They're already in place. They've been there for years and being attacked. And then again, we do a lot of new schools too. That they're just kids are being pulled out of the schools. Parents are tired of the garbage. They don't want the vaccination. They don't want the masks. They don't want the mandates. They don't want the control. And then we put them in and help them through the system.
Yeah, I'm hoping we can develop a real advertising campaign system to get the word out to people as far as their options. Because instead of just protesting against Drag Queen Story Hour, we can just let people know how they can set up their own schools, get out of the system altogether.
We need millions of those out there, Michael.
Solution.
Millions.
Hey, I'll put a little banner on my website if you got a little affiliate. It's like floating on my website. People see it, click on it.
That'd be awesome. I'd love that.
If you've got it, yeah, I'll throw it up there.
Yeah, I could do that too, definitely.
Yeah, send me an email and I'll get it over to you.
Yeah, it definitely seems like there's two co-occurring societies right now, so this is really good stuff. So thank you very much for all your work, Mike.
Oh yeah, you bet. And we do have two societies today, right? We have our parallel society, our new tribe. It's there. The issue is to get everybody to know it's here and to understand it and how to use it and how to operate and take advantage of it. And that we're here as a group to share knowledge and to help protect each other, right, through this garbage that we've been put into. And that's the only way that we're really going to survive, I believe, as a community, is by sharing and helping people and helping each other.
Absolutely. All right, we're going to try a couple more questions, Static Man, and then we'll wrap up, and we'll do it again next Thursday. So how do property taxes work on a PMA collective? If you put infrastructure in, don't they increase taxes or no taxes because it's private?
No, you're going to pay. So we got to understand that we don't own our property here in the United States, right? It was taken away from us and then put up as collateral for debt against our nation. And with us not owning it, then that's what our taxes are about. Our taxes are to help pay that debt, which will never be paid, and that's all by design. And as we pay our property taxes every year, that money just evaporates, doesn't get used by us, isn't needed. We get nothing out of it, right? So, when you enrich or beautify and build on your property, you get to enjoy the payment of permits and fees and fines to do those things, and then you get to enjoy the increased taxation of that property. And the only way to get around those things is if you do the full land patent allodial title system, and that's going all the way down and getting the actual federal lien removed off your property as well in order for that to work properly. Otherwise it doesn't work. There's nothing there. And they still own it.
Great. One more tax question, and then I'm going to ask a weirder question. Does getting national status avoid any taxes, even a high amount, like long-term capital gains on real estate?
So the national status by itself doesn't do that. The national status can, coupled with a revocation of election, does that.
Right on. So there's a organization. Well, they tell me it's not an organization. I'll tell you who it is in a minute. But and what they're saying is, look, many folks talk about the United States is not really a country or a government; it's a corporation. So how can you have national status if there's no nation?
There is. It's called the United States of America. We have two United States, right? We have the corporation, which is the United States, capital U, capital S, and then we have the United States of America, the Republic. So that exists, and that's what we are, and we're state national, right? So we're of the several states. There's a couple different programs. I refer to it mostly as status correction. But there's a state national program and there's an American national program. And we do have the United States of America, the Republic is here, and it's as strong as ever. It just isn't known. people don't understand it. And they did that on purpose. They called it the United States. They didn't call it, the theft corporation, right? Which is what they should be doing, or the deceiving corporation, or, the control corporation. They just called it the United States, capital U, capital S, which is only a corporation. Its president of that corporation happens to be Joe Biden, and then vice president, what's her name? And then that whole hierarchy and that whole system is just like a regular for-profit corporation, because that's what it actually is, right? That's complete. So it is there. Yeah. And you can be an American state national of the United States of America. It all boils down to being a sovereign citizen. And when you go into the Declaration and the Constitution, you look into the Constitution. I mean, you look at the preamble, and it talks about us being sovereign, and how that we have the same authority and power. We are of the King, which means that we have the same authority of the king as the king did in England, because we took in the common law, got adopted out of Europe, came here, and that's how we ran our system. And in that's how we produced our Constitution, and by those theories and ideas. And then we are of the King, which means we cannot be controlled by a government that we created. We created our government. It is our subservient, period. It's not the other way around. And over time, and over dilution, and over, training people and giving them things to dumb them down year after year after year, horrible programming on television. When you're programming, it's exactly that. It's called programming for a reason, because it changes your ideas. When you watch news and you're watching programming, it's changing your thought process and your interior idea of how things operate. And then after time, then we become apathetic. Yeah, we just say, oh, whatever. My vote doesn't count anyway. We'll let the other people work it out. And there's so many millions of people today. They don't do anything at all, and they just let the system run who they are. So when the county comes and says, oh yeah, hey, you want to subdivide your property, it's going to be $30,000.
I think you might have broken up there for a moment. Anyone else? And Mike, if you can do the flip. Tell you what, go out and come back in again.
Yeah.
One more time. One last time. We're really on a roll now.
So kind of, oh, now we can't hear him at all. Nothing.
Well, I'm asking him that. Yeah, I think he's going out and coming back in.
So this is some cool information, if this is true, and it kind of resonates as part of like what all the cool stuff that's been happening in Texas with the sovereign stuff, because that's, David Straight's backyard, and they're like, took over Johnson County and a bunch of other counties. So, on Twitter again, Texas is going gold-backed currency as early as September 2023. Texas applied to be part of BRICS. The United States is set to join the BRICS nation publicly by 2026. And Texas setting up the QFS for the new U.S. Republic, which of course we've been hearing for a while that Texas would be the first, they applied for gold back, and that, I've heard continuously that they'll be, kind of separating, they'll be their own republic. So anyway, pretty cool if that happens, huh?
Indeed. Indeed.
Yeah.
That would be pretty crazy.
That would be.
Ooh, you sound good again.
We have, I think there's only 3 states that actually have adopted and allow gold and silver to be actual currency, and Texas is one of them. I think it's Texas, Utah, and Wyoming that are doing that. And there's like 6 or 7 other states that are working on doing that right now. But that's a perfect example of a freedom state that's proactively and progressively trying to be free.
Right. They did throw Bonnie Strait in jail, though. She's currently in jail. I don't know if any of you guys knew that.
Yep.
Like, for a while. Like, yeah, in solitary confinement, 19 days. Some crazy shit.
Yeah, that makes sense, especially from what I've seen also, because they really make it seem like Texas is like really silly and dumb for trying to secede in that way. So that must mean that they're a legitimate threat.
Yeah, they're surrounded by a lot of Masonic cops over there, what I've heard too.
Well, there's a lot of bad in Texas.
Yeah.
Right.
and there's some issues with the straits. So
Right,
that.
which, yeah, so it's like not validated and hearsay. I don't know. Um,
They're they're also after Bundy. They're after Ammon Bundy, and
who are Ammon Bundy?
that's a whole goofy thing. So that's a whole nother long story.
Bundy Ranch.
What's that?
The Bundy Ranch. Ammon Bundy is Cliven Bundy's son, and we'll share a little bit more about that. I'd like you to watch but Mike has spoken to this group called People's Rights, and so go to peoplesrights.org and join, please, and become an area assistant if you possibly can. I'm in line to be in charge of the Orange County, San Diego, and south and east of their area. That's Area 11, the bottom tip below Los Angeles of California.
Did you say .org?
Yeah, it's a .org, peoplesrights.org. So that is inspired or initiated by Ammon Bundy and supporters thereof. And there's 629 people now in this area that don't have an area assistant yet, which is kind of area leader, but really you're just assisting. So there's been a lot of activity in Area 10, and so I'm working with those folks. And Mike, where was it you said you've spoken to People's Rights?
In Oregon and Washington.
Great. So we have a great question here from my buddy Chris again. Or it's a statement that he says, I like to say the people are sovereign and I am one of the people. Now that's a great statement because Mike, you used the phrase sovereign citizen, and a lot of folks are saying that's kind of a contradiction in terms. You're either a sovereign or you're a citizen. And furthermore, these folks that I was mentioning earlier, and I'll come to the real punchline in a minute, but the statement is that you can't individually be a sovereign. Together, the people are sovereign, and that requires a social compact. Mike, what do you say about that?
Yeah, I think the individual can be sovereign, and it tells us that. It tells us that right in the preamble of the Constitution. Yeah, it wasn't talking about it to a group; it's talking about it to an individual. So I really truly believe that individual can be a sovereign person. And when I say sovereign citizen, it's referring to like a United States of America sovereign citizen, not the U.S. citizen. So they're totally two separate things, right? A U.S. citizen is not what we are, not what the free people are, right? Yeah, but you can be a citizen of the United States of America, in my mind.
Got it. Okay, so now here's the punchline. So you mentioned the United States of America. There's an organization founded by a fellow named Keith Edward Livingway, and it states that they are the United States of America with a capital T, and that they have claimed and established the previously unclaimed metes and bounds and seaward boundaries of the United States of America and the original post office. Are you familiar with this and what they're saying about
I've heard a little bit about
true
that.
nation and a true government?
Yeah, it goes into our assemblies, and if you look at the assemblies, and lots of towns have them, lots of cities have them. That's the assembly's new government. That whole piece of it. And I'm sure what you're hearing is spurred out of somebody that's in an assembly.
Yes, they are forming assemblies. So,
yep.
So there's that. Well, all right. I think we've covered a pretty good deal today. We've got you back in the static zone.
Can I ask a question before?
Yeah, please,
Okay.
Gerhard.
Mike, I wanted to get your opinion. My house is in a irrevocable trust. So when I did it with a bar attorney, it is in the air jurisdiction. So where does that put me with safety of my house not getting seized or being in government hands or 2030 agenda?
Well, yeah, so being in an irrevocable trust, even though it's in a statutory, is better than it being in your name, right? It's still going to have protection, but you're still open because it's statutory, and it's still been recorded, and people can still see who owns it, right? So those are the things you need to look at and worry about. And when I say worry about it, you don't really need to worry about it. I think you're probably going to be fine. Would I sell all the assets or remove them from that trust and do another one? Probably not. I'd probably just leave it like it is. I don't see the benefit of the other one. Just you're fine. And now let me ask you a couple questions. In your trust, you're a grantor.
I believe so. Let's see here.
Sometimes they call it settler.
Let's see. Maybe it's on the last page. Gosh, I'd have to I guess it's not. If you guys want to carry on with something else, is gonna maybe
So
take.
why don't you do this? Why don't you reach out to me? Send me an email.
Okay.
And let me give you my email. It's Mike at the PMA team .club.
.club. Okay.
.club.
Okay. So it's like 5 pages.
Do it offline.
Yeah, screenshot it, and then you can tell me your thoughts on it, because I've been wondering about that for a while. So that would be super helpful, because I'm like, do you want a Lloydal title, or I'm already in the air jurisdiction, or leave it alone? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So that'd be great.
Yeah, just let's talk about that offline, and I'll help you through it and give you my opinion on what you got.
That's amazing. Thank you.
Yeah, you bet.
Well, thanks, buddy. We'll see you again next Thursday, and we'll have some stuff coming at you probably tomorrow. And just keep moving forward and getting stuff ready to share more detail with the people.
That sounds great. Thanks, bud. You guys have a great day.
Thank
Good
you.
talking to you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks.
All right. Bye.
That's a wrap. Thanks, Michael.